So, Mark, I have a property today listed, and I've had it for a couple months that I can't sell. It's not in a very good area, Barrie. And my client called me asking me to list the property, and I was shocked that he even bought it. So I'm going to pull up the property for you. Oh, where is it? Shit, we're going to have to stop.
No, keep going. Cares.
Yeah.
I'll keep going. So this property, tell me about the location. Tell me why did your client call you to list it?
So what happened was he got the property. He had his agent, another agent friend of his that lives in Toronto, called him and said, "Oh, there's this great property up in Barrie, and you should get in on it," and blah 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 blah. So he thought because it was close to the water, because it's on Toronto Street.
Yeah.
He thought because it's close to the water, oh, that's a great place to be. But he didn't realize that that like down there is like, well, you know what it is. It's like
You got the McDonald's on the corner of Dunlop and Toronto Street that had 97 drug overdoses last year in it. You have rooming houses and basically slum landlords all in that part of Toronto Street.
yeah, there's actually a rooming house right beside him.
Yep.
And then the other problem we have that McDonald's now, it's
Yep.
actually at the point where you can't go inside, eh? Like
Correct.
you can't eat inside anymore, and
Yep.
you have to be buzzed into the bathroom.
Yeah, is a problem.
It's
So
it's a huge problem. So what's going on is that nobody, of course, wants. Now it does have zoning that is very, very desirable. Okay, like it does.
area is not desirable though. That's the problem. That zoning is great and has lots of opportunities, but until that little patch of Toronto Street gets cleaned up, no one's opening a goddamn business there. They're just
Okay,
not.
so here's the listing. And this is the history of it. So of course you can see that he bought it at $668 in multiple offers. It was listed at $599.
Right at the peak.
Right at the peak. And it was an agent from Toronto, apparently a friend of his. And I said to him, well, Leo, like I would have never let you buy it. Like it was tenanted. It took him 8 months to get the tenants out. He's done some really nice updates. He gutted this whole house. And I mean, he did some really nice updates to it. Like the inside of it. We're gonna get
great.
there. Yeah.
Like it's some good things to it. Like he's did some nice work.
Yeah.
But here's the problem is that it's almost too pretty for that street, of course, because if he doesn't get successful, he's buried deep into it because he paid the moon for it. He got screwed on by not working with a local realtor. And me and you have talked about this numerous times. I don't know why people will work with people outside the community, especially for buying. I just don't get it.
Yeah, and
look at the mess your client's in.
He's in a big mess.
He's in a big mess.
He's into it. So we have it listed now at 849. He's into it for like in the high sevens. And he's still got to pay real estate fees and everything after that.
He's gonna lose money.
He's already talking about, well, maybe in September we're gonna have to rent it. He can't afford to keep paying for it.
I agree. And he can't afford to drop his costs because he's got a lot into it. And the workmanship looks great, but it's the area. And yes, everybody gets excited. Oh, look how close it is to the water. But that agent didn't do him any justice by representing him at all.
I said to him when he called me, he goes, "Oh, Diane, I have a listing on Toronto Street. I want you to list." And I said, "Well, when did you buy that?" Because I've done other deals with them.
Sure.
And he
Yeah.
goes, well, I think he bought it in 2020 or 2021 at the height though. And he told me the address and I said, well, Leo, why the hell did you buy that? I would
Yeah.
have never let you buy that. He goes,
No,
well, I didn't know. He didn't know that. Yeah.
didn't.
And actually
So
right
viewers,
beside him is the rooming house.
yeah.
Right across from him is, I think it's the women's shelter. And then 2 doors away is that McDonald's that you can't even
Can't go into.
can't go into.
It's a shit area. Bottom line, close to the water, not it's a terrible area. You prospective the desired tenant that you want to move in that is not moving there. They're just not. They're not walking past addiction and being scared to get into their home. That isn't happening. It's just not going to happen. If I was Leo, I'd bite the bullet and reduce that thing till it's gone and go, okay, I made a mistake and move on. That's what I would do.
Private mortgage.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you got to make decisions and pivot when you know what I mean, to get out of messes and go, well, it was a bad decision. I learned from it. I move on. Right.
Oh, listen, he's the same guy that has 58 Jones that the tenants won't leave.
Right.
So if 58 Jones sells and close, then he'd at least have the money. But if that does, he's losing money over there too. Like this guy that he used, I don't know, he got him in a real pickle now.
It is. And how many times we see this time and time again, during the hype when, we're doing deals all the time in the COVID times, the out of town agents would call me, Mark, is that a real good area? Like, and meanwhile, it's not a good area when I'm selling. I sold one on Gun. It's okay, but I'm going, Jesus Christ, you're representing a buyer in this transaction and you don't know about the area and you're asking me. I'm not telling you nothing about it. It's not my job. It's your job to do your research. It's all there.
Or they send you comparables.
Yeah, I know.
They send you comparables from like a terrible area and your house, your listing is a good area.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, but this one sold for this. Well, yeah, because nobody wants to live there, you dummy.
Right. They don't know. And I wish I could talk to everybody out there that is moving up from different communities to shop local. I'm not saying shop with us.
No.
But work with an agent that knows the community and is from the community. Because if your client would have called you up and said, Dan, I saw this listing on realtor.ca. What can you tell me about it? You go, forget about it. Yeah, but it's by the lake. I can walk. Forget about it. Look at this. Here's why. C, D, E. Done.
No, exactly.
Better position. So that agent so your client, if he wants to get out, he's got shit money, obviously, behind him to, he's got a second more private money, which he's paying, who knows what he's paying for. Like he's buried huge. And he funded the renovation maybe out of his own pocket, whatever. Like, oh no, like, yeah, people get themselves and make bad decisions. And
well, the problem is though,
friend,
part of the problem is, and I guess it's like anything in life, you trust the professional, or you think you're trusting someone you think is a professional in that area, right?
Okay. Yes, I agree with you to that. And then other parts of that question, I don't agree with you. I got a call from great clients of mine, Peter and Veronica, outstanding. Mark, we want to kind of move. We're thinking of looking at real property out in Corbeil, North Bay area. Well, that's my hometown, but I haven't been there in 30 years. I said, you know what? I can't represent you because I'm not from there anymore. I don't know those areas like I used to know them anymore. I don't know what's going on in those areas today. So I refer them to people. Then they're looking at Perry's other areas, because if they're good clients, we need, in which they are, I believe every client's a good client. We should give them the best representation as we can. Yes. And not think about the dollar signs, right? And people, I'm not driving up to North Bay because I don't know the area, or they wanted to Perry Sound. I'm not going because I don't know the areas. I don't want to put people into properties like Leo got put into. And they look at me for guidance. And if I can't feel comfortable with that and give them the best advice, God, I sure don't want egg on my face for giving people bad advice. That doesn't, I'd rather give it away.
Well,
Sorry.
and you know what? It's the same thing with me too. I don't sell people houses if I wouldn't live in the area. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had clients that bought in crappy areas, but I told them
For sure.
this, but they couldn't afford anymore.
I agree. And it's
So,
not
and
a
I
bad
told them like,
decision.
this area is bad. Like
Yep.
this is, you know, I try to, a lot of times I won't even show people houses if I wouldn't live there. Like downtown core, I don't even take anybody down there. I
No,
have never shown a house down there in my life.
no, I've a couple times, but not many, count them on one hand. But that's the thing, right? If people are forced to those areas due to budget and stuff like that, and they want to get in the market, hell yeah, get into it, because it's a property that will go up. Yeah, you're going to have some hurdles with the areas and stuff like that, but
Well, you can take the lesser of two evils too. Like you can go into Timberwalk instead of Mary Street.
100%, 100%.
Timberwalk isn't the greatest, but it's a lot better than it used to be, and it's safer, and it has cleaned up a lot over the
Yep.
years, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there's areas that okay, you can't live here at all, which is Toronto Street,
100%,
or
100%.
they're not the best, but you're not going to have homeless people sleeping on your door.
That's the thing. And that's the thing with around that geographical area there. It's surrounded by homeless and drug addiction.
I'm trying to show that picture, but I don't, I'm going to try to get it up.
But see, so there's the point. You try to pull it, and I'll talk about that area. You know, that area is, you know, rooming houses surrounded by addiction. There's crime in that area. A lot of social service networks. There's methadone clinics on the corners as well. So an out-of-town agent wouldn't know that. Let's put it that way. Someone from outside the city, and most of them, you know, it's not just one agent doing all the business from out of town in Barrie. There's thousands of them. They don't know the areas. Some do, but 90% of them don't know the area.
Okay, so Mark, here I got it up. This is a picture you just took from down there.
That's 50 feet the other day. That's Toronto Street and Simcoe, right at the corner. That's it. That's all around there. Looks like that guy's having a piss in the pole talking on the phone, but that's what they see. you know, so, you know, oh, that was a real good deal. I got a great property. You should come up and see it. Leo should have called you and said, hey, what do you think? My buddy who's an agent who, you know, could be new in the business, good friends, want to support him. What's this area like? You would have given him the honest facts, and Leo wouldn't be in the position that he's in today. And
yeah,
he
and
made
you know what? Even if, whether
mentally-
my clients, like whether they use me or not, if they called me for advice like that, I would give it to them. I would tell them.
100%. Stick to the relationships that you people have, right? And we see a lot of people, you know, that we know kind of why they're using their Toronto agents or agents. These are 99% of them are part-time agents. They have full-time careers, and then they go and then the buyer who's using them saying, okay, great, I'm going to use you to buy this $1 million property wherever, but I want $10,000 of your commission, and they give it to them because the guy's got 25, so he has no problem giving away 10. You're going to make a bad decision. You're going to, you know, make that kind of a decision on a guy that doesn't know anything about the area and about location.
You know what the thing is too, though, Mark? Think about this. Think about this. So he might even be a full-time agent. There's a lot of them down there, and they give kickbacks, right? They all give kickbacks. And especially down from the west end of the city, they all do it. They all do it. And I even had people buying my properties saying, Diane, you have to give us 2.5 because I got to give my client a kickback. He told me that. So, I mean, how much money did Leo lose?
100%.
Even if he got a kickback.
100%.
He's losing. He's going to be losing. You watch, at least $50,000 to $80,000.
Yeah.
So was it worth his kickback, Mark?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No.
And we're seeing that a lot, right? It's common. You know, when we started in the business in 2010, you know, we did business with Barrie agents. We knew everybody. You know, and then
we helped each other out too.
Help each other out for sure. And then things shifted. We seen more of a demographic from outside the community, mainly from North York area, move it to the community. And then we start to see Toronto agents. Now, I don't deal with Barrie agents anymore. It's all Toronto agents down south, right? And you know what really, this is one. My client on Browning Trail called me a couple days ago. It said, Mark, I got a bill from I got a bill that the buyer sent to my lawyer and he wants me to pay it. So right away I pick up the phone. I go, okay. And then this is an out-of-town agent. Property closed on July 28th. They never did a walkthrough on the 27th. They did a home inspection. We gave a $10,000 abatement on price for any deficiencies, etc. No problem. Well, the air conditioner wasn't working or something like that. So he gets a bill the next day for 700 and change. And I said, well, what does your lawyer say? Well, he said, let's just pay it and see how it goes. And maybe we won't pay the next one.
What?
I said, the next one. I said, you're not paying this one. I said, you can send him a note back, and I pulled up the agreement of purchase and sale. Rep warranties were, basically expired at the day of closing. So once closed, it's your property. So it doesn't work. It was working before. Too bad, so sad. You didn't do your final walkthrough. So how many times do we list a property? We sell it with an out-of-town agent. They never do walkthroughs.
No.
So, and there's the buyer fucked again.
Yeah.
Really, there's no other way to say that except screwed. So I said, Rayanne, do not pay that bill. You are not paying that bill. It is in the APS where we warranted to the day of closing and never did a final walkthrough. Shame on them. If they would have did a final walkthrough and said, hey, this isn't working properly, you're on the hook. You're not on the hook, don't pay the bill.
Oh, I know. And most of them don't do final walkthroughs. Blows me away because they don't want to drive here for an hour.
Don't want to drive here, but they like to collect the paycheck of $20,000 or $30,000. But again, the goddamn client loses again, right? I'm so sick of shit service, and we give the utmost best service we can to our people, and we'll pick up the phone all hours. Even the transactions closed 10 years ago. Call me up anytime, answer any questions you want, etc. But I don't understand why people are settling to working with people that don't know what they're doing.
I know. Well, Mark, how many times
in a good way?
And you know it yourself. How many times have I done the final walkthrough and my buyer didn't even come?
Oh, all the time. And
but I went.
Right. Oh, 100%. You can't make it up. I get it. No problem. I don't blame you. You don't need to come up, but I'm going. Thanks.
Yeah.
Everything's good. And we're testing the AC and we're testing the stove and the washer and dryer, mechanicals, all the lights are on, light fixtures are the same. Everything's right. Walkthrough was 99% of them. Walkthrough was great. No problems. You're good to close.
Well, my last walkthrough that I did by myself, there was problems. And I emailed the agent and said, this has to be done. This has to be done. This has to be done. And I still went the next day again.
Yeah.
And the guy assured me everything is going to be done by the morning on closing. And it wasn't.
Better do a holdback.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's no one likes to see people get screwed at the end of the day. I don't like it. Right.
It gives us all a bad name though, Mark. I think it takes down the whole profession, that everybody's just out to screw people and make money.
It does. And that has been growing more. Every year it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And then we get so excited when we do a deal with someone that was just professional, courteous, getting back to you, working together to make sure the transition is smooth. Those are the agents that I like dealing with. I hate dealing with.
You wouldn't. When I put the offer in on Coatman, the agent called me to thank me. He says, Diane, you were the only one that actually had a complete and proper offer.
Great. They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know
what they're doing.
Yeah.
You see all the clauses all mixed up. Legal description wrong. Names are wrong. They're using pre-printed forms all the time. They're just taking the names out, putting in the names and a septic. Well, the property doesn't have a septic. Why is this in the Schedule A of warranting a septic? Scratch off, or a well. Scratch. Yeah. I know what they're doing.
No. I know. Yeah. He said that, it's amazing these days that normally every offer that he's got in the last couple of years, he goes like, I have to call them and get them to fix everything before and resend it, because you can't even work with it.
Yeah. What do you think someone should ask so if I was an out of town buyer and I wanted to buy a property in Barrie, but I don't know anybody in Barrie, and maybe they're calling their buddies or referrals from their friends in GTA. What do you think that buyer should ask that questions about that?
Ask the other agent, the referring agent.
Whatever, it could be, you know what, so and so said, Billy has a friend that sells real estate. He could represent you up in Barrie, but we don't know them at all. We're telling them the buyer, we don't know them. What do you think would be a real good question for someone to ask that particular agent that is from outside the community, that does business in a different community?
Well, I think I would ask how long they've been doing it, and what kind of how successful have they been?
That, but also, have you done business in that community?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, how much business have they done in that community? How successful? Because Mark, I could be an agent here for 10 years and only do it part-time and done 3 deals. 100%. I still don't know shit.
100%. And there's more of them. There's times it by 100 in the real estate industry today that are part-time in this industry.
Well, they say years ago, I don't know what the average is now, but the average used to be 10 to 12 deals a year. I think it's lower now. That the average agent did. Massively. So you and I, when we were really going strong, we would do 60 or 70. That's 5 years worth of transactions in 1 year. Yep. Right. So it's just the experience. Like, you've come across nearly every kind of scenario by now. Right. And you've been screwed a couple times. I've been screwed a couple times where you forget something on a listing, or you do this, you do that. Now you don't make those mistakes again. No. You unfortunately, you have to learn the hard way through experience to get really good at this job.
Absolutely. And being in it full time makes a big difference, right? If that's the only revenue, then you're committed to the business, right? And people should look at, other points they should look at is go to their social media profiles. What, are they giving out content? Are they giving value? Are they selling properties? Like, there's so much there to go research today, but I don't think the general public's doing a good enough job of selecting the best people to represent them. I really don't. I don't.
No, well, you hear so many horror stories.
That's all you hear is horror stories.
And Leo, apparently Leo's guy, it was his friend.
Right. You want to support him, but doesn't know the area. I'm sorry. Can't support you. Or maybe I need to bring in Diane and you need to split your buying commission with her because she's full of knowledge. That would be fair.
I would be okay with that.
You'd be okay with that. Hi, Dan, it's Leo, but he just started his license and I want to support him. And okay, but I want you guys to split the buying commission because he doesn't know the area. He's got to consult you on what should be in the offer, what details, and most of all is the location. He would have kept out of danger that way. Would have saved himself maybe $100,000 because he's going to lose his shirt. And I think he's stupid by not reducing that price to make it go away, make that problem go away. Because if
he doesn't want to lose the money, so now he wants to rent it and try to hold it.
I think you're losing money at that game today anyway. He put someone in, because a good renter, I shouldn't say good renter, a working class renter, let's be honest, isn't fucking living there.
I know.
He's showing up going, are you crazy? I'm not living there.
You know what I told him to do, Mark? Massage parlor.
Well, get someone to rent it out that way.
Because you know why? It's one of the only places in Barrie you can do a massage parlor. It's got C21.
Well, that's what should be. Then that property's got to be marketed that way because
I know.
Wow. And that weekend, crazy crew down the waterfront. I don't know. Would be a good business for somebody.
I think so.
But, something has to happen. But if he's going to get a residential tenant, I think he's dead in the water to begin with.
Well, the problem is, so this is what our issue is. His taxes are only $3,500.
Yeah.
If we rent it out commercially, they're going to go to $10,000.
It's a lot of money. So he's forced to do the residential for now.
He has to, because then if he wants to resell it, it would have to be commercial as well. Right. And somebody would have to take the $10,000 on. Right.
And that's the thing right now. And I just don't think some business is going there. I'm sorry, unless it's a massage parlor.
Oh, so listen, I did have an investor, a developer that wanted to buy it and rent it and buy the one next door and put a big wellness clinic up. Dentist, like a big, it would actually work probably there. But he needs more than one, and the neighbor won't sell. So
Yeah. If a guy could buy up a block, in a sense, 3 or 4 of them, and do something,
you could have a huge condo there, Mark.
you could, and that wouldn't be a bad area, right?
No,
You get rid of four of those old crap houses and rooming houses in there. I think it could be okay
you
too.
could clean up, yeah, because if you did it, got those 4 or 5 in a row. I think there's 5 or 4 in a row. If you
Yep.
got rid of all of them, the rooming houses, everything would be gone. And you're
Yep.
right at the water. You'd have water views from that condo.
Yep. I agree. It's getting rid of those 4 other ones, right?
And
And
it's a little bit further away from the downtown, the real,
yes, yes, it is.
it's closer to Nautica.
Right, right. Like my experiences, I've been into Lake House now for 3 weeks right now, and I've, I walk downtown now. I walk Ted in the morning downtown to the Meridian place and on the lawn and stuff like that. And I'm more exposed to the downtown people, right? I'm familiar faces, and it's not pretty in such areas, right? Drug addiction is up close, homeless is up close, community support workers picking up needles and stuff like that. And I'm in a great building, but across the road, it's a goddamn rooming house
Yeah.
right across the road. So I think in time things will clean up, but those are parts of, growing pains, I guess. But, I still don't love the area. I love the view, but don't love the area.
Yeah. And you know what I'm thinking? That's why I thought that Toronto Street, a developer could buy that. It's not a bad spot, but the problem is it's the lot is too small, right? You need 3 or 4 of them.
3 or 4 of them. Yep. Okay, I think that's enough. I think we covered
Yep.
off.
If you like our stuff, hit the like, subscribe, or drop us a comment or question.
Yeah, and don't settle, people. Don't settle for buddies who represent you in areas that they don't know.
Well, and this is an important decision.